Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 4 of our slow and immersive playthrough of Victoria 3 as Cuba, where we're going to fight for our independence from the Spanish Empire and then try to build ourselves into a progressive socialist society. We'll be focusing and delving deeper into more complex game mechanics such as elections, trade and naval warfare throughout this series. Hope you enjoyed, so let's go ahead and unpause and we can do a quick recap. So far we have industrialized a little bit. We built our 6th level of logging camps together with our private sector. We built 2 construction sectors. We built a level of iron mines. I believe that was our private sector. Then we built food industries, textiles and tooling workshops, and we're building paper mills currently. We have focused our research on pharmaceuticals at the opening of the game. And why is that? That was in order to pass public health system, which we unlocked the tech at the end of the previous episode, and we're now in the process of passing public health insurance. Now, let's have a look at this. So, return state in Caucasus, Russia started. Return state against Caucasian Imamate. Okay. Armed forces are loyal, 10% authority. That's good. Trade unions left enacts census suffrage. This is due to their approval. Loyal. Okay, perfect. So we're not creating any more radicals. Excellent. This is because we're passing public health insurance, which they really like. Industrialist job creators deactivated. This is due to their approval of happy. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We didn't need the investment pool contribution kind of addition that much right now. And why is that? Because we can't really utilize that anyway. It's fine. We'll build up our investment pool. We can always make this will deplete pretty quickly once we especially increase our construction capacity. So this is not a big deal. Now, Catholic Church really likes us. That's excellent. So now our population growth is about to explode. As long as, fingers crossed, we can actually pass public health insurance, which we should be able to do, right? Given we have 30% success chance, right? We have advance, we have 60% advance chance for success, so that's together 90% year debate. And we have no stall chance because we have no opposition, because even though industrialists are opposed to public health insurance, the ruthless capitalists that they are, they prefer, I believe, no health insurance. I believe, right? No, they use it private. Yeah, they prefer private, actually. Or they endorse no health system, but they strongly endorse private health insurance. Yeah, and they really hate public health insurance. Yeah, but they're not in government, so that's a good thing. So they're not actively opposing this. This group believes each person is responsible for their own fate and opposes government programs to provide services that can be paid for by the individual. Yeah. So the only way they could counteract this is by starting a movement to preserve no health insurance and lending their clout to that movement, starting to radicalize the population. They are unlikely to do that. Why is that? Because they're actually quite loyal, even with the decrease in temporary decrease in approval from the law change, which is quite drastic, -10, but they were quite loyal before. Why were they loyal? Well, because we made them much wealthier. Their standard of living is on the up, so they have a lot of loyalists. So they have +15 approval from that. They also generally agree with most of our laws. Interventionism per capita, child labor allowed, migration controls they don't agree with, and they really don't strongly oppose slave trade. So we actually use them to potentially ban that later on. And we should do that soon. Yeah. Oh, nice. 30% pass. Let's go ahead and speed up. Trade unions left. Now, intelligentsia don't seem to really be giving us any love for passing public health insurance, because they don't really care. They just want freedom. They like public schools and private schools, but don't seem to much care about health, sadly. Now, we did kind of quickly, we picked our next research as, our next research target is the atmospheric engine. Well, it's really our real target is railways, right? Now, why do we need railways? We need railways, first of all, so that we can unlock railway which gives, employs 5,000 people, which we don't have a lot of, but provides 20 infrastructure, which allows us to further industrialize, because we cannot, this is a very, probably the most penalizing cap on what you can build in your one state, aside from population, right? You either don't have enough pops or you don't have enough infrastructure. Having not enough of either is, really the limiting factor of your GDP. So we need a way to increase infrastructure. And we could also use 5,000 laborers and build a port, as I discussed at the end of previous episode. But that would only give us 5 infrastructure per building. It would give us convoys, but we unfortunately have to contribute 75% of our convoys to our overload anyway. So not very efficient at all for us to build ports, although we probably will have to do it anyway, at least one level, just to kind of, just to pull over until we get railways. So that's one reason to build railways, right? So to get the infrastructure. The second reason is to gain transportation and reduce the price of transportation for our pops, improve their standard of living, but also to actually implement the rail transportation production method, thus reducing the labor required and instead using more transportation, i.e. more of the railways. That will effectively increase the amount of labor available for all of our buildings. So that is a great thing for us, where we have a shortage of labor. So as long as we can automate our entire country and make it run on railways, we'll need less labor for our industry. And the third reason is that it will actually provide some demand for our steel and motor industries, so allow us to build higher end industries with higher base prices, and therefore as long as we can fully employ those, it's a certain quantity times a good of an increased price, therefore a higher increase in GDP. So railways will be very, very good for us, and all of that in turn, will lead to higher GDP, more infrastructure, and more labor will mean more industry, higher valued industry, right, of steel and motor industries. All of that together will translate to higher GDP, therefore higher government revenue, therefore bigger navy, therefore more chance at gaining independence. Now we are at a pretty healthy surplus. There you go. Banking unlocked, a vast financial institution. The bank provides security for public and private interests and can become the centerpiece of a vast monetary network of investments, loans and opportunities, plus 10% minting, minus 2% loan interest rate. Excellent. And yes, I was just about to say, I really hope stock exchange becomes the next one to spread to us, and that is perfect for us. Now, the government provides, we now have public health insurance. The government provides a publicly funded health insurance program ensuring equal access to care for all. First step towards a socialist paradise taken, guys. Public health insurance plus 2 max health system institution investment enables health system. Now we have half a standard of living, minus 4% mortality already for everybody. So boom, you'll see 136%. Excellent. Now institutions. So we immediately go to level 2. Why can't we go to level 3? Well, because we cannot afford the bureaucracy cost. But indeed, as I thought, we can go to level 4. Now we need 29 bureaucracy. We all also needed bureaucracy for taxation capacity, which we haven't approached yet. But given how fast our population is going to start growing now, we're going to need that. Plus, we have the budget for it. So I would not mind at all of putting in a government administration, especially after we build our paper mills. And given the fact that, yes, we would like to build up our navy, I would like to build these naval bases, but again, as I mentioned in the previous episode, training a navy up, especially with the basic production method, is very slow. So you can see, where do you have, and it's not getting any faster if you have more naval bases, right? The rate of training of sailors will remain the same. Thus, as long as we have, that's why I wanted to build this first base early, so we actually get the ball rolling on this. But as you can see, it will take time. As long as we're not fully employed, we'll just add another naval base and build up and up and up slowly. Now, let's go ahead and speed up. There we are. Hang on. So Napoleonic warfare unlocked. Napoleon revolutionized warfare, emphasizing the importance of properly utilizing artillery. Unlocks mobile artillery and lancers for us. Okay, doesn't really matter since we're not going to have a lot of land-based armed forces, definitely for the foreseeable future. It will be the Navy that will win us our independence. Now, what has actually happened? So Liberal Party has been formed. Let's go ahead and have a look. And there we are. Industrialists and intelligentsia have banded together to try and gain some votes. Liberal Party is projected to get 8% of the votes. Now, how much clout do they have? Interestingly, they have about 12%. So 12 plus 5, 17% of clout. Worth noting, we are bolstering intelligentsia. Now, the Liberal Party, 13% momentum. A value is randomized at the start of election plus changes from events. So right now it's +0. That's because elections haven't started. I think this will change at the start of next election, but we do adjustment from Raul Baez's popularity. Raul Baez is our industrialist abolitionist. Great. He's ambitious and experienced political, but let's read about him in a second. But he's already giving us a bit of momentum, so which means more votes. So the Liberal Party is projected to get 8% of the votes. This will give them 27.6 thousand political strength from votes, which is 27,000 compared to the, so they obviously get more. Now, again, we have landed voting. So it's really the capitalists that will be voting for industrialists and therefore voting for liberal. Well, that will support industrialists, but will be voting for the Liberal Party. And in terms of our intelligentsia, it's really some progressive aristocrats that support them, and mostly it's bureaucrats actually working in ports and construction sectors. We're going to build a level of government administration, most likely before the next election. When is the next election? Oh no, okay, we have an election going already. 1843. Okay, there we are. Interesting. So let's click on this. Yeah, so this now actually shows what's going on. So Conservative Party has 73% momentum. Liberal Party 13% momentum. Interestingly, party affiliation, as you can see, it's actually intelligentsia. The influential group is supporting role. Interesting. +14. Not really sure what that means. Slavery laws. So because we have, so this is kind of what I mentioned is very obscure. Like I really wish they explain this much better. But for example, if we have slavery laws in place, i.e. we have slavery allowed, intelligentsia is more likely to form a liberal party and support the Liberal Party because they want to push for anti-slavery. As soon as slavery is gone, this modifier will actually go away. And that will kind of unlock, if you want to call it that, intelligentsia to actually go and join other parties, right, which they might find now more attractive because those parties are more likely to get them the things they want. Right, we have state religion law +3, which is kind of a bit weird, but it basically means that because we have state religion, it makes them more likely again to join the party that will more likely to attract other interest groups with whom together they could get rid of these laws that they don't like. Right, exclusionary citizenship laws +3. So if you kind of see basically if it has a raison d'etre, right, like the reason to exist, it's because of these laws, right? If our country is conservative, there's more reason for the Liberal Party to exist in the eyes of the intelligentsia. Therefore, they're more drawn to it. Legal guardianship, obviously. So they kind of think, okay, there's a lot of work to be done in our nation to liberalize it. Therefore, it's worth establishing the Liberal Party, participating in election, as opposed to simply not establishing a party or joining someone else's party. Because you can see intelligentsia in the free trade party led by industrialists. That is possible. Influential group in supporting role +14. So I think it's actually the industrialists, interestingly, that formed the Liberal Party, not intelligentsia. And then intelligentsia joined them. And now they like it because they think, okay, we can piggyback on these guys and they give us relevance. Right? Interesting. Industrial affiliation with Liberal Party. So liberal, laissez-faire ideology, progressive leader, no schools or religious school laws, slavery laws. So what these are attraction, not very strong attraction, so they could actually quit the Liberal Party and form their free trade party. Well, in fact, hold that thought, right? As we have seen, the reason we even have a Liberal Party unlocked is because we got, what is it, empiricism unlocked, right? We have Liberal Party is actually possible to be formed. But Free Trade Party doesn't exist yet. Once we get stock exchange, Free Trade Party will be formable, right? It will be unlocked, and I would predict what we're going to see is the industrialists promptly leaving the Liberal Party, abandoning the liberal agenda, and instead going with the free trade agenda, because that party furthers their aims kind of better. Well, they think so, like by joining that party, because parties themselves, again, as I mentioned episode 1, but worth repeating, the names don't really mean anything. They don't have any ideologies attached to them. It's just flavor. So let's resolve this event for this election. Again, every election will always produce like 2 or 3 events. Seferino Mota again, the agitator, Armed Forces Democrat, and Wenceslaw Kolon, a politician, a Catholic Church royalist. Let's see the leader. Yeah, were spotted in discussions about the coming election. Preachers the next day were extolling virtues of the Conservative Party. Catholic Church are beyond our reach. Well, let us hope they do not decide the election. Plus 10% momentum will be added to Conservative Party. Cuba gets politicized clergy. 10% political strength of clergymen. 5 political strength from the votes of clergymen. Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, regardless... So this only gives them 10% momentum, 10% political strength of clergymen. I mean, some of our clergymen do support other groups, so maybe it's better to give them, I mean, more political strength, but ultimately most of them support the Catholic Church. Plus 5 political strength from votes of clergymen. I mean, either way, to be honest, the Conservative Party will win. Let's just give them momentum. Just give them momentum, as opposed to empowering the clergy, because that will maybe be countered by other events. But also right now, to be honest, I don't mind them having 100% vote, because pulling away just a few votes from them, all that's going to do is decrease the legitimacy of our government, right? Giving us a few malices. Like, it's not really going to let us put the Liberal Party in government. Go ahead and speed up. Well, we had a very healthy budget because we've grown our GDP, right? We got the investment pool transfer working in our favor. We could still tax our population quite a bit high, so we have a lot of... We've got the consumption taxes, and we actually can put an extra consumption tax if we needed to. Don't need to right now, but we could, so we can already afford a good sized navy. But let's go ahead and get that health insurance, health institution up. And for that, we need to finish these paper. Finish this paper. Mills. Take on debt accepted. Great Britain's taken Honduras' debt. Let's get these paper mills. That will, again, increase our GDP further, since paper is expensive, plus also reduce the price of paper for our government administration that we're about to build. Now, yeah, this is, as I said, very slow process. A very, very, very slow process in training up the Navy. From whom the bell tolls. The aged Miguel Tacon Irazik, or used to be our president, but he's not the president anymore, because I'm not even sure why he was the president, just because the game started with him as the president, but he was the leader. He is still the leader of the armed forces, though, but it is now the least powerful interest group in the Conservative Party. Therefore, he's not the leader. It is the leader of the Conservative Party, Ramon Maceo, that's become our president. The aged Miguel Tacon Irazik, leader of the armed forces, has unexpectedly expired mid-campaign, robbing the Conservative Party of a cornerstone politician. The question of his replacement is now on everyone's lips. Go with the popular but inept candidate. Miguel dies. A character appears in Cuba. 10% momentum will be added to Conservative Party. The determined but haughty youngster secures the chair. A character. Okay, who's this? Anselmo Herrera. Politician unforced is Democrat. Great. Universal suffrage supports elected bureaucrats. This leader prioritizes the institution of democracy and opposes uncontested rule over the nation. Excellent. Although we do have royalists and slavers. This is what's really important. But there we are. So go election. Election results in Cuba are in. Conservative Party gained 93% of votes. Liberal Party gained 6.8% of votes. Now, another thing that happens on elections is we do get a free government reform. Due to the recent election, your next government reform will not result in any new radicals as long as it is done within the above time limit. So, as you will recall from previous two Let's Learns, whenever you put interest groups in government, if it's not an election-based government, right, it's just kind of authoritarian, kind of more like a council. So when you put interest groups into the government, it doesn't do anything, doesn't give them any benefit, or it obviously affects which laws you're able to pass. But in terms of their approval or disapproval, they don't care, right? Putting them in government. However, when you take interest groups out of government, 25% of their members, for example, if you look at industrialists, 25% of this 1.2 thousand population that supports them would become radical, right? Now, with elections, you know, one of the kind of advantages you could say is, or not one of the perks, is that every election you can reform the government and put these guys in. Just reform the government entirely, put some guys out, put some guys in, and not generate any radicals, right? There's an advantage. Now, as I have talked about, for example, okay, we pulled some votes away towards Liberal Party. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, not really. I mean, it's not really a good thing because we just took away like a little bit, 1% of legitimacy. Didn't change anything, luckily. But if we pulled away like 15%, then you know, it give more scope to bring these in. But if we brought these in, we would obviously add some legitimacy from the votes that Liberal Party has. But because of the radical difference in ideology, we have such a massive penalty. Right? If we bring these guys in, obviously it becomes an illegitimate government. And without the Conservative Party, which has most of the votes, again, illegitimate. Another interesting thing which I talked about in the first episode is that you'll see what happened. Happens is the petite bourgeoisie has appeared as an interest group, and they actually now say they will join Conservative Party on the next government reform. So if you actually go reform, so you see they're now kind of like split between they want to join the Conservative Party while the Conservative Party was in government, which means they now have this little line here, which means they won't join any other parties, but they also can't just jump into government without our approval. So what really can, well, the only two things can happen. If we put the Conservative Party out of government, they will automatically join them. And if we put them on this side, they will join the Conservative Party, and after that, we'll never be able to move them out of here. And we actually, is it worth changing them? Endorse monarchy and theocracy, national supremacy, migration controls, elected bureaucrats, secret police, national guard, outlaw dissent and censorship. Well, we might as well, since they want to be in the Conservative Party. We could also, for example, bring them in. That will raise legitimacy because that's extra clout here. Boom. And now, interestingly, we have 4 members. Actually, I don't think I've ever seen this. We have 4 members in the Conservative Party. I want to bring them in because I think what's going to happen is one of these guys will jump ship very soon, because nobody likes to be in a party, it seems like, of 4 members. Okay, so landowners, okay, their approval has increased. Okay, get the investment pool contribution. So that's good. Let's go ahead and keep building this government administration. We have very, we're doing very well with the reserves. Now we are going to have to, unfortunately, we will have to build a port, I think, because we're going to run out of infrastructure, to be honest, sooner rather than later. Yeah, and I would like to utilize this, obviously, to build a navy. We could temporarily decrease taxes. but I do want to build our gold reserves and just always have these at pretty much, if possible, at max, because when we start our bid for independence, we'll need all the money we can get. But let's try and get government administration. Once that's in, that will probably chew through like 1,000 or 1,500 of this surplus. Ottoman Empire ended their rivalry with Russia. So let's go ahead and speed up just to keep the game going. Now, landowners, again, let's just put it back to 3. So landowners still losing clout. That's very good for us. Catholic Church, pretty much the same, losing clout a little bit. Industrialists, again, gaining clout very rapidly. What is our private sector up to? Keep our finger on the pulse. Tooling workshops and fishing, okay. An extra tooling workshop, furniture manufacturers, we're going to build an extra level. So they've built some logging camps, they built fishing wharves. Okay, we do have 63,000 peasants now. We could actually go to the urban center. Do we have any coal? No, we got no coal. We could get these and provide cheaper services for our pops, but we need glass, and that would reduce the profitability of these guys. Yeah, coal is also very expensive, so maybe we'll do this later. Political movement disbanded, excellent. I think census, suffrage, health system, okay, increased to 2, and now, sadly, actually, you know what I'm going to do? Because I was going to say, sadly, we don't have the bureaucracy to keep increasing that level, and now we're going to be delayed by 26 weeks, which I don't really like. But if we look at our trade center, we could abandon one of these trade routes, perhaps. Because it takes 50 weeks. It's fine. Maybe it's fine. Okay, we're just going to have to wait. That's okay, but look at this. 1.66 projected pop growth. Projected pop growth, guys. Now, migration attraction is 33. So we're now getting 30,000, right? So again, as someone mentioned in the comments, you should pass charity law. Yeah, charity hospitals would have been good. And yes, we had to wait 6 years to pharmaceuticals, but now that we have public health insurance from the start of the game, pretty much from the start of the game, you know, you'll see how powerful that is. And plus, it's thematically coherent with our kind of objectives and immersive. Now, we desperately need this bureaucracy, though. Might even need a second level, to be really honest. Because how much bureaucracy is that really going to give us? Have a look. It'll give us 35. Now, that should actually be enough, because it's 35, but with filing cabinets, that will give us 50. Yeah, okay, one of these would be enough. Okay, hang on. Okay, so what's happening? First of all, mechanical tools have been unlocked. Handcrafted goods can be of exceptional quality, but for consistency and rapidity in production, mechanical aids are needed. Precision tools for furniture manufacturers, steel tools already unlocked for tooling workshops, sulfite pulping for paper mills. And we've got slaughterhouses for livestock ranches. Yep, and now we should be on, well, once we get the atmospheric engine, we should be onto railways. So excellent. Intensive agriculture started spreading. Also excellent, that will allow us to make use of fertilizer. Now, landowners petition government. Now, because we're not passing any laws, again, I mentioned this in previous playthroughs, but worth repeating, because we're not passing any laws, just kind of sitting there, the interest groups in government are going to start petitioning us, right? Now, representing his constituents in the landowners, Ramon Maceo, who's also our president, has issued a formal petition to the Cuban government to pass agrarianism. Are you kidding me? We'll see what we can do. Yeah. Sure, we shall see what we can do. Now, I'm going to... Well, this kind of puts us on a collision course with the landowners, because they're not going to be happy, because we're not going to pass agrarianism. Let's have a look, just out of interest. We did actually start we started with traditionalism as Serbia, pre-industrial subsistence economy with little central control. I mean, that actually worked okay for us there, for the bureaucracy. It actually worked okay. But agrarianism, let's see, a rural economy emphasizing agricultural development and community. Plus 50% private construction allocation can subsidize all agriculture. Trade centers, interesting. 50% aristocrats investment pool contribution efficiency, minus 25% capitalists, 50% farmers investment pool contribution, can subsidize power plants. Interesting. Yeah, versus interventionism, I guess, can subsidize all buildings. So it would stop us from subsidizing. It would stop us from subsidizing industries, right, and things like railways, I guess. So limits our ability to subsidize, I guess, anything industrial economy. But it will actually well, I'm not even sure. Overall, I think overall it would actually raise the investment pool, because it would, aristocrats would contribute plus 50% more. So instead of 10%, they would contribute what, 15? Capitalists, obviously a small reduction here, but they are very rich though, and they own buildings that are very profitable. So it's difficult to really say, right? Because it's they reinvest the profits of the building, right? So the kind of the reinvestment rate matters, but how profitable the building matters, because it's part of that extra profitability that these pops reinvest. I mean, it's not the end of the world if this like came to be, but there's no way we're passing that either. I do not think. Okay, let's get this. Get this built. We actually need to employ it as well before we build it. Yeah, that's good. And this is good for us, since it will give us bureaucrats and clerks that will hopefully support the government. French-Ottoman rivalry declared, and Ottoman Empire have declared Russia to be their rival. Okay, there we are. Increasing our bureaucracy. Excellent. Let's go to our institution. There we go. Level 3. Straight away. There you go. Level 4. So it will take us 100 weeks. It will slowly build up. It will eat up bureaucracy as it increases, but the benefits will only come when it's actually fully built up. But it will activate gradually. So in 50 weeks, it will activate level 3. And then in 97 weeks now, it will activate level 4. And as I mentioned, look at this, plus 2 standard of living, again, increasing our population growth, because the differential because standard of living decreases, oh, there you go. Standard of living measures a pop's living conditions with their material wealth as the baseline. It governs birth rate and mortality, and every time it changes, it can cause pops to become more radical or loyal. The average standard of living in a state affects its migration attraction. Yep, so the birth rate and mortality rate will both come down, but the differential will increase because mortality rate will fall by more than birth rate. It's just from standard of living. So population growth will increase from that. Mortality will decrease by a further 1.6%. So our population growth is going to be massive, guys. Absolutely massive. And that's 10 years into the game. I mean, maybe a bit like 11 years into the game. Also, we'll raise our migration attraction. Excellent. Excellent all around. Now, buildings, government administration. Yeah, we don't even need to change the production method yet, although we could, just to give a bit of a boost to our paper industry, but it's not a big boost, so it's fine. We have plenty of bureaucracy to keep us going. We're building ports, because yes, we do need. We actually, will we be able to? I'm actually curious. Yeah, we still have 5. We need 12 months plus 4 years. We need 5 years. Would we be okay, actually? Still buildings. Government construction. Let's actually go with these naval bases. And then what? We do build a second building of furniture manufacturers, which will be very profitable indeed. Tooling workshops. Yeah, this is very slow now. Yeah, we do need. So right now we're training 4 training rate. 4. Well, you know what we could do? We could pass a. Actually, we should have done this earlier. So another decree we can pass is issue enlistment efforts in Cuba, 5% conscription rate and 25% training rate. Let's go ahead and issue that. That will help a tiny bit, but I mean, honestly, it's very slow. The way to increase this is to gain power of the purse, and that's tech we unlock, and that will double our training rate. And Jeune École then will yeah, pretty much. No, sorry. So this is 4 training rate. This will increase it by 25% to 5. And this will, Joe Nicole will increase it by 50% to 6 training rate. Now, how do we do that? How do we do that would have been to, yeah, it's these techs. Power of the purse, that's 3 years of tech. Joe Nicole, that's 50. That's very far away from us. Right, at least we got started on it. Let's see, how's Spain? Ooh, yeah, there we are. So 10 years in. Yeah, you see, they've started to build up. They're now major power. Yeah. That's gonna be tough. We do have very strong government surplus, so we could build another construction sector. How much do these cost? Yeah, that's 2.3 thousand. But that would suck up 5,000 of labor. What we could also do, really, is switch to iron frame buildings. It's more tools, slightly less fabric use, slightly less wood, but more iron. We need 50 iron. How's price of iron is actually okay. Let's go ahead and do that, because I want to make use of this surplus that we have. All right, let's raise our construction to 20. Right, that will make our construction more expensive, yes, but it will, you know, rebalance demand, I think, quite nicely. Wood is now cheap. I mean, the price will go up as we build furniture manufactories and such. Price of iron kind of goes up, again incentivizing our private sector to build more iron mines, which is a good thing, I think. Let's go ahead and, you know, we might as well, sorry, not this, we might as well build the furniture manufactories, because it doesn't really matter if we build naval bases now or later. You know, it's still going to take quite a long time to build up, to train up. We can go ahead and speed up. Okay, Guillermo Luperon of Petite Bourgeoisie is retired. Jesus Bayo, honorable literary Democrat, who's liked, is now leading the interest group. Severino Motto, agitator, has died. Sad, but we won't miss him. I guess, I mean, he was what? He was, yeah, for elected bureaucrats, which we don't really want right now. Now, against the odds, just a random event. Despite not enjoying full rights under Cuban law, some wealthier Afro-Caribbean people have begun moving into neighborhoods and frequenting establishments they would normally be excluded from. We may need some new regulations to keep the peace. 50% radicals from discrimination, from enforced segregation. 2% of Afro-Caribbean population in Cuba become more radical. Straight away, they have barely earned their success with all it entails. Petite bourgeoisie will be a little bit offended. Catholic Church will be a little bit offended. Also minus 50% pop attraction, plus 2% African population become more loyalists. I think we go with that. We can afford to displease these groups right now. And it wouldn't even be a bad thing if they attract, well, especially Catholic Church attracts less clout. Now, furniture manufacturing, what else? I think textile mills is another thing we could build that would still be profitable. Food industries, okay, kind of barely profitable, really. But yeah, I think we could put in one more level of textiles. Definitely one more level of furniture. Paper, not really. Food, tooling workshops. Yeah, not super profitable either still, but now there's a second level built by the private sector. What else is there? Yeah, as we approach, yeah, atmospheric engine we're going to get very soon, then we get railways. So we can definitely build ports, shipyards. Military shipyards we'll definitely need that, but we'll do that once we build up our navy, because this provides 35 man o' wars. As you recall, frigates, the light ships, require 1 man o' wars upkeep, and we need at least 30 ships now that Spain has 24 flotillas. So we'll need at least one of these, whereas man o' wars, the capital ships, need 3 man o' wars, so this can support 10 man o' wars. And maybe 10 light ships as well. So we'll definitely need one of these of our own, because if we, right now we're building up our naval bases. They will require man o' wars as upkeep, but they're taking these from Spain rather than us. In fact, a strategy we could also do, we could actually build this up ourselves. We could build one, hoping that Spain uses our man o' wars for supporting their flotillas, and when we start our bid for independence, they will embargo us, and that means they will, unless they've built up naval shipyards, military shipyards themselves, let's have a even look. Sorry, they should be up here. Unless the military shipyards, they have 1 level, they will lose supply to their navy, right, which reducing the strength of their navy. Yeah, so they have 1 military shipyard. Yeah, perhaps we should build one too, just to support our own navy, and maybe try to make them become dependent on our military shipyards, and then cut that supply. There we are, perfect. Look at this, guys, 1.79. This is crazy, and there's 1 more level to go. So as you can see, that's still increasing. Average standard of living is already 11.9. You see, yep, patronizing romanticism closed. Yeah, so we never made that journal entry. Again, another suggestion from previous playthroughs is that we should pay more attention to government, to the journal entries, and we'll try to. Right now, we're going to ignore the petition to pass agrarianism. Path to liberalism, again, difficult for us to really pursue. Yes, we would like universal suffrage. Maybe not right now, but a little bit later, once we actually have Social Democratic Party unlocked. I guess a short-term political goal for us for now. Let's actually have a look at this. Hang on a second. So, iron, we need more of. We'll probably use atmospheric engines straight away. Actually, one other thing we need to build is the coal mines. It's a matter of priority to get ourselves ready for the atmospheric engine, because that will require coal. Now we do actually have a decent amount. So the question for us here right now, so our construction sector is constrained by lack of iron. Yeah, so we need to sort that quickly. And as I mentioned, you will need iron further down the line too. So it's the resource buildings that we're going to sort of sacrifice, if you want to say, to capitalists. The atmospheric engine is the first steam engine that has an actual practical application, unlocks motor industries and atmospheric engine pumps. So let's go ahead and just boom. Sacrifices to the capitalists, upskill some of our laborers into machinists. Again, further support for the Social Democrats later down the line. And resolve hopefully some of the issue with iron shortage that's hampering our construction industry. There's another level of iron coming up, so that will reduce that price. Again, alleviate some of the pressure on the budget, while keeping our construction, right, it went from 14 to, it's 19.9, so it's actually 20. So we kind of increased construction capacity by 50%, right, from 14 to 20, 6 on 14, roughly 50% increase. Together with the bonuses we have, it's probably roughly that. And the bonuses, I mean, from road maintenance and from having some excess bureaucracy here as well. Which we could, given we're not running like a huge surplus, we could actually go and switch to filing cabinets, right? Again, provide some demand for our paper. It will cost us more now, right? from our budget, but the higher bureaucracy will give us again that little benefit to construction. Going, we got furniture now. Oof, 58 out of 62. Interesting. We might actually be able to. Only 3 years we need for railways. 3 years. That means, I mean, once the railways are there, we will need steel mills and we will need motor industries in place by the time that happens. Right, each one of these takes like a year to build, so that's 2 years. Coal mines. Alright, sorry, let's move these naval bases and ports kind of down. I'd move the ports above these naval bases maybe. Otherwise, yeah, this is our construction queue for the next few years. So let's go ahead and speed up. We know what we want. And as you can see, overall, we're moving in the right direction. Stock exchange unlocked. Excellent. An organized market where stocks and bonds can be bought and sold. The stock exchange is a central element of the modern market economy. Plus 10% market access price impact. Excellent. Minus 20%, 25% trade route bureaucracy costs. So we got some bureaucracy from that, given we are running a 6th trade route, which now only costs us 15 as opposed to 20 base. 10% market access price impact has basically made all of our buildings that use inputs for such as, for example, furniture that uses hardwood, right? It now actually buys it at a price closer to the overall market price for the Spanish market by 10%. So these inputs have become cheaper, you know, if they were cheap in the Spanish market, and goods that we were selling to the Spanish market, such as probably something like liquor, I would assume, have become more expensive for us. So overall, our GDP would have improved, given we now buy cheaper and sell higher, because we have better access to the Spanish market as a whole, as opposed to our local market, because we have better, 10% better market access price impact. You can see that by going here. So you see price setting for liquor, for example, is 85% from market price of 25.8 and 15% from local price. The Spanish market price is 25.8. It's roughly the same, so it's not much of a difference. But for some goods, it will make a decent difference. There you go. There you go. Price of iron is stabilized. We do need coal. We're building a coal mine. Might not use the atmospheric engine there just yet. There we go. Look at this, 1.93%. And the Catholic Church are happy, right? As opposed to where if we passed charity hospitals first and then we passed public health insurance, we would, if we went from charity hospitals to public health insurance, we would annoy Catholic Church greatly, because they really endorse, they endorse they endorse charity hospitals. Whereas going from nothing, no health system, to public health insurance, even though it is not their preferred choice, makes them happy. Right? So by waiting those 6 years and unlocking pharmaceuticals, we have just unlocked, massive benefits for the next 50 years. It's very well worth the trade-off, I think. There you go, coal mines built. Okay, GDP further grown, so we're only 10 years into the game. Again, we'll kind of try to delay giving into the industrialists. Keep this owned by merchant guilds for as long as we can, which, to be honest, I'm afraid won't be for very long, most likely. I'm gonna reduce the speed a little bit. So we see, yeah, probably won't be for very long though, unfortunately. But we do have labor, so we could build another level of coal mines. But again, as I mentioned at the start, it will be very hard to keep the resource industries, because it's a basic resource, obviously. I think it's kind of common sense. These things go as inputs into many other industries. Therefore, you need a lot of them. Therefore, it is hard to keep them away from mass capitalist production, and therefore historically, right, this is probably the first capitalist buildings that were, well, industries, because they need a lot of capital, i.e. upfront investment. But once you make that investment, right, as long as demand keeps up, you have a lot of fixed costs. I mean, in real world terms, you have a lot of fixed cost, which requires a lot of upfront capital to establish such an industry. But going forward, as long as demand keeps growing for your good, the variable costs don't grow that much, i.e. you just employ cheap labor, especially in this day and age, 1847, cheap labor that you didn't care much for, right? You extract those resources and you just supply them to the market, and that's it. Once the iron mine is built, the mine is there, it's just, prints cash for you. But, it sounds kind of easy, but, organizing that much capital for investment in 1847, I'm sure it was no small feat. So, textile mills, excellent. Do we go for military shipyards? How much time do we have? 26 months, to be honest. I feel like we actually, we need to like squeeze in a naval base, and then we need steel mills and motor industries to be ready to go with the railways when we research them. Now, an event popped off against the odds, despite not enjoying full rights under Cuban law. Okay, same event. Some wealthier African-American people have begun moving into neighborhoods and frequenting establishments they would normally be excluded from. They have fairly earned their success with all it entails. We can still afford to displease. Yeah. We're kind of getting a little dangerously close to, maintaining approval of at least 8 to keep the be fruitful and multiply trait. We will build one more naval base as we have almost trained up 2 of our frigates, or enough crew for 2 of our frigates, so we'll build that in. You can see they get built very quickly, much faster than we can actually train the crew. 35 weeks for steel mills, 24, we have 100 weeks. Actually, we could build military shipyards first. I think we could, right? Yeah, these military shipyards, thing is, they'll never employ a lot of people at the start, but neither will steel mills or motor industries. We're kind of building them just to have them there, so that when we build the railroads and we start upgrading the production methods to automate production among our buildings, we'll have enough motor industries and steel in place to just meet that demand. But at first, these industries will be very unprofitable. So this is going to be a period of stagnating GDP as we just set our economy up for the future. Now, this is worrying. Now, why has this increased to 4,000? Well, that's because the private sector not run out of money. Interestingly, they actually have plenty of money, 1 million. What they have run out of is ideas for what to build. That is a little bit sad. Inactive elected bureaucrats again. Okay. Interesting, we didn't have any events this election. I thought we always get 2 or 3 events. I don't think we had a single one. Take home debt accepted. Okay. Well, Conservative Party won 92% of the votes. Liberal Party won 7%. No one else participated. Okay, well, their legitimacy has declined. So they are losing some votes. Why is that? Well, it's because it's flowing into Liberal Party. Why is that? Well, that's because we're building buildings that are owned by shopkeepers, I guess, and capitalists who, as you can see, support the industrialists. I'll also build a bureaucrats building. So they support the intelligentsia, aristocrats, etc. Yeah, and we're building buildings that now upskill, ex-laborers and politically unaligned into these higher skilled jobs, We're making those pops wealthy, therefore giving these political, these interest groups more clout, drawing clout away from the main, historically powerful groups, and therefore siphoning some of the votes towards these groups. And again, remember, we can only capitalist aristocrats, clergy, and officers can vote. It also built up some officers actually from building up these naval bases. Only they can actually vote in our system. So, it's only some of the capitalists, right? 80% of whom support the industrialists, right? Only those guys are probably voting for the Liberal Party. Interestingly, also industrialists remain part of the Liberal Party, and I'm not sure if there's a way to see their affiliation. Doesn't really look like it. There you go. Their current party affiliation, Liberal Party. So it's industrial plus 13 still. So they don't want to form the Free Trade Party, interestingly. They still have, the most attraction to the Liberal Party. Conservative, they're minus 11. Pertinent anti-slavery ideology. So they won't join the Conservative Party for sure. It's minus 20. Is not affiliated with any party. Why is that? Well, because they don't like the Conservative Party. 3 other party members. It actually gives plus 3. Interesting. 3 other party members. It's interesting. I would think it deters them. That's what I always understood. But it seems like it's some circumstances it actually makes it more attractive to them. Like everyone's part of the Conservative Party. We also want to be part of the Conservative Party. Excellent. Interesting. Rural folk affiliation with Liberal Party. I would expect them to actually like the Liberal Party because of the anti-slavery. Influential group in supporting role minus 5. Does that mean like they're influential themselves? Is that what they're kind of thinking? Is it, look, we have quite a bit of clout, but we only be supporting role here? Possibly. Okay. Let's get to, actually we can... Let's pause here. January 1st, 1848, we've had an election, we've passed public health insurance, we have industrialized and set ourselves up for railways, right? Which would be a big step that will allow us to move on to steel, motors, and railways. Unlock, pretty much remove the infrastructure cap. Oh, there we are, and we actually breached that already. But okay, we'll be able to get away without building that port. Although we'll need it for later, so it's not completely useless to have built it. But we will be effectively raising that infrastructure cap for ourselves. Also be able to automate our buildings and again bring in more labor into our economy, or and industrialize ourselves further. So railways will be a big one, and we'll see what we do next. Politically, I think our main aim in the foreseeable future would be to somehow ban slave trade. So we'll have to think in the next episode as to how we might actually proceed towards this. And it's tricky. It's tricky because of the landed voting system, right? It's tricky to, to put some party in. We're going to have to get an illegitimate government. So there's going to be some upset faces, I think, pretty soon in our political system. But we'll see, guys. I think we're coming up on the hour, so thanks a lot for watching. Going off. But thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're learning. Let me know down in the comments if you have any comments or suggestions, any questions. Give it a like if you enjoyed it. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.